Hello. We're going to dive into a direct and, let's be honest, a deeply challenging question from a parent. It reads, "Hello, my son, 9 years old, behaved badly with a friend and told him, 'I will rape you.' I tried to explain to him that this is a threat and that it is not right to say such things. How exactly should I approach so that he understands how serious the threat he made is?" First, I just want to acknowledge how startling and upsetting something like this must be. The fact that you're taking a moment to seek guidance, instead of just reacting, is absolutely the right first step. So let's walk through this together.
To really figure out the best way to handle this, we have to look beneath the surface first. We need to try and understand why a child would use language that's so extreme. And, the reasons are often not what we might immediately jump to. It is so important to remember where a 9-year-old is developmentally. In the vast majority of cases, this is not a malicious threat coming from a full understanding of that word. What's more likely is that he was feeling an overwhelming emotion, probably anger, and reached for the most powerful or shocking word he's ever heard, without truly grasping its meaning. So, right off the bat, our goal here isn't to punish or frighten him into never saying it again. The real goal is education. This is a moment to connect and to teach, not to create fear, which honestly can just cause a child to shut down and hide things from you down the road. You're probably asking yourself, where on earth did he even hear this? Well, kids are like little sponges, aren't they? They absorb language from everywhere. The schoolyard, things they overhear from older kids, maybe something they stumbled upon online or in a video game. Knowing this helps put it in context. It doesn't excuse the word, of course, but it helps explain where it came from. Okay, so let's get practical. Let's move into the how-to of this conversation. Having a clear plan can really help you stay calm and focused during what is, no doubt, a very tough discussion to have. We can break this whole approach down into 4 clear steps. First, we clarify. Then, we explain. After that, we help them empathize. And finally, we offer alternatives. This structure helps you turn what feels like a crisis into a really productive teaching moment. The first step is all about finding out what's going on in his head. You start by asking a really simple, non-judgmental question. Something like, "Hey, I want to talk about that word you used earlier. Do you know what it actually means?" His answer, whether it's "I have no idea" or some kind of wild guess, gives you the perfect starting point. Once you know what he thinks, it's time for you to explain. Now, for a 9-year-old, you want to be direct and serious, but you absolutely want to avoid any graphic or scary details that could be traumatic. You could say something like this. "This word describes something very bad, where someone hurts another person's body on purpose. It's a crime and it causes a lot of pain and fear."
And this brings us to a really critical point. You have to separate the behavior from who your child is. So you can say, "What you said was very serious," but you avoid saying something like, "You are a terrible person." See the difference? Attacking their character just builds shame, but focusing on the action allows them to learn from it.
Now we shift gears a little and start to build empathy. Asking a question like this gently moves the spotlight off of your son and onto his friend. It encourages him to step outside his own anger for a second and think about how his words actually landed on someone else. This is a huge skill in emotional intelligence, and it's something that needs practice.
This really gets to the heart of the matter. So often, a kid will use an explosive word because they just don't have the right vocabulary for a powerful feeling like rage. The word they chose was a tool, a really bad and harmful one for an emotion they just didn't know how to handle.
So, the final step is to give him better tools. Let him know that feeling angry is completely okay, but we have to use words that don't hurt people. You can offer him simple, powerful alternatives. Things like, "I'm so angry," or "Stop it," or just "Leave me alone." This helps replace a destructive habit with a healthy one. Okay, so you've had the big conversation. Now what? Well, it's really important to set up a clear path for what happens next. This isn't just about one incident. It's about setting the standard for how you communicate as a family. A simple, firm family rule creates a really clear boundary that everyone can understand. For example, in our family, we do not use words to hurt people. It's not up for debate. It's just a statement of your family's values. That kind of clarity actually helps kids feel more secure because they know exactly what's expected. Now, if this happens again, a consequence might be necessary. But we're talking about a constructive consequence, which is a teaching tool, not a punishment. It should be related to what happened. Maybe he has to write a sincere apology letter, and it needs to be delivered calmly without shaming him. Remember, the goal is always to teach, never to humiliate. Of course, it's natural to have that nagging question in the back of your mind. Could this be a sign of a deeper problem?
And while it usually isn't, there are a few specific red flags that would tell you it might be time to get some professional guidance.
You should be concerned if this is part of a bigger pattern. Things like a frequent use of sexualized language, or behavior that seems overly sexual for his age, or if he seems to know very specific adult details about things. If you're seeing those signs, a consultation with a child psychologist would be a really good idea.
But, and this is so important, I want to reassure you, in the vast majority of cases, a single incident like this is not a sign of a deep-seated problem. It's much more likely to be a kind of perfect storm of a child's natural impulsivity, their developmental immaturity, and some word they picked up from their environment.
So, as we wrap things up, let's focus on the single most powerful factor in this entire situation: your response as a parent. Because ultimately, how you react creates one of two very different futures. A calm, supportive, and clear response teaches your child that you are a safe person, someone they can come to when they make mistakes. But a harsh, shaming reaction only teaches them to hide their problems from you because they're afraid.
In the end, it all boils down to this simple but incredibly powerful equation. When you approach a hard moment like this one with calmness, when you provide clarity by explaining things, and when you uphold firm boundaries, the result isn't pushing your child away, it's creating a stronger connection. You've just turned a crisis into a chance to build trust.